Okay, so we're going to solve for x. You can see that x is across from an angle, and you also have another set of side and angles across from each other that you can use. So we can use the law of sines. You're going to put the side over the sine of the angle across from it, or opposite, and you're going to set it equal to the side, the second side, and the sine of the angle across from it. And in the equation it also has c, but since we don't have a third side to use, we're not going to use c. So if we fill it all in, x is the side, so I'm going to replace that where the a was, and the sine of the angle across would be the sine of 100. And then we're going to do the same with the other, so we're going to take the side, which is 56, and the sine of the angle across from that, which would be 42, and there's our equation. Now we just need to solve it. So to solve, we could, we see x on the left, which is above a value, so it's being divided, so we can cancel division by multiplying. So I'm going to multiply by the sine of 100 on both sides. And so x is the value 56 times the sine of 100 divided by the sine of 42. And so that's really just what you have to put in your calculator. So a great tool I think you can use if you don't have a calculator at home. I know that a lot of phones have a sine, cosine, and all of those. If you turn them sideways, I know a lot of them will have extra options. But Desmos is a great tool, right? Desmos.com, and then you can click the red button that says Start Graphing. We've used it a lot in class, so I hope that everyone's comfortable with it. If you hit down at the bottom, if it's not showing up, that gives you the extra tools. And then functions, and here's where you see sine and cosine. The other thing I want to show you, so I've switched the screen. If you go up to the little settings there, you want to make sure, usually it defaults so that radians is highlighted in green, but since we're doing this in degrees, you want to click here and change it to degrees. And you can see that I've typed in what we just talked about. So I put 56 times sine of 100 over sine of 42, and the answer is 82.4. You can use this answer to check and see that your calculator's in the right mode. So I wanted to do a second problem with you. This one we have a side across from an angle, but you can see that we don't have any other angles. We have two other sides. So this is when you cannot use the law of sines and you need to use the law of cosines. So law of cosine said we're going to take a side squared, it'll equal a second side squared plus the third side squared. And so far it looks just like Pythagorean theorem, but then we're going to subtract 2 times the two sides that we just mentioned, and then the cosine of the angle across from this side. So here's what you need. The angle C has to be across from that side that's over there on the other side by itself. So we're going to plug everything in. X is what we're looking for. X is a side, so we're going to plug that in here. The other two sides are 15 and 16, and we'll plug them in for the A. I'm going to use parentheses instead of the dots. And the B. And then cosine, and again, it has to be the angle across from the side you're looking for. And then all of that you can just type in your calculator. If you're doing Desmos, it's really easy. You know, the square button's there. Just make sure, again, it's in degrees. You should get 455.88 if I round. And then to finish it, you have a power of 2 up there. So to cancel that power of 2, last step is you do need to take the square root. So you should get about 21.35.